And here are just some of what we will do when we become the 47th president of the United States. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. Look, that's a war that would have never taken place. Putin would have never done it, It'll be done very quickly. The United States must also build a state-of-the-art missile defense shield. Look, we got to have a missile defense shield. We got all these maniacs in all these countries, not only countries, big countries where you can talk and, they have a lot to lose also, but you have people getting nuclear missiles. I wanted to stop that. We had it stopped with Iran. We have to have a shield. I want to build a shield around our country. And these shields work. Frankly, if Israel didn't have a shield, you wouldn't have Israel today. They stop thousands of rockets a week. But we have to build a much more sophisticated shield, and it's going to be made right here in the USA, so it's not all bad. And a lot of it's going to be made in New Hampshire. You're going to have a nice big shield. And for years, American taxpayers have bankrolled space-age missile defense system to protect foreign nations. We do these incredible things, and we give it to foreign nations. We have very little ammunition now. How about Biden? A couple of months ago, he says, we have a problem. We have very little ammunition. Can you imagine? Let's assume that's true. It is true. But who would say that? You don't say that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have communist China and we have Russia that hate us. I want to say right now we have very little ammunition. He actually said we have very little. Even if it's true, number one, we shouldn't have been in that position. But we have given so much ammunition to other countries, in particular Ukraine. We don't have any ammunition. These people, well, it's like the guy I told you about. Well, you'll be making a lot of our ammunition. We had so much ammunition. We were blowing it into warehouses. We were taking warehouses all over the country, storing our ammunition. We had so much ammunition, and now we have very little, just like in the strategic reserves. We have very little gas. Under my leadership, we will once again protect our own people with our own missile defense system capable of blasting China, Russia, Iranian missiles out of the sky. And we will, in addition, have offensive weapons that will be second to none. We'll have the greatest weaponry. We have the best people. Russia stole we call them the super dupers, right? They go super fast. They stole that during the Obama administration. They stole the plans. It was all very highly classified. They stole the plans and they built it. Americans deserve an Iron Dome, and that's what we're going to have. We're going to have an Iron Dome around our country. And we'll save a fortune because a lot of countries that we protect, number one, they can't stand us. Number two, they don't deserve protection. The money we waste is incredible. I will end Joe Biden's inflation disaster, and we will quickly rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world. Very quickly. It's going to go fast. Get ready. And unlike the sanctimonious who voted to gut Medicare and Social Security and voted 3 times to raise the retirement age to 70, I will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. We're not going to be raising ages like you. We have so many other things we can do, like, as an example, utilize what's under our feet, liquid gold. We're going to make so much money with our liquid gold. We were all set, and we were starting to do it. We were energy independent. Within 6 months, we were going to be energy dominant all over the world. And this guy stopped it. On day one, I will repeal Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate. Everybody has to have an electric car. Under a Trump administration, gasoline-powered engines will be allowed, but child sexual mutilation will be banned. Yeah. Can you imagine having to say that? No, can you imagine having to say it? Can you imagine 15 years ago if you had a politician? Can you believe I'm a politician? I got to say I'm a politician, I guess. But can you imagine you had somebody up here running for office and he said, we're going to ban child sexual mutilation. People would say, is this guy crazy? Of course so. Or we're going to give parental rights back in our schools. Who would think they've taken it away? They're arresting parents. I will also sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. Is that okay? Crazy. You ever see some of the records that are being broken? Records that were good for 18 years, and now they're being obliterated. Yeah, weightlifter. He says, dude. He wants. But can you imagine weightlifting records being broken by 150 pounds? They'd put an ounce on each side, 1 ounce. They'd put another ounce on the other side. They'd try. They couldn't do it. A guy comes along. Have you lifted before? No, not really. Bing. It's terrible. The swimming, look at the swimming records, right? The swimming records are being shattered. And you know, it's very demeaning to women what's taking place here, Blake. And people are afraid to talk about it. Even like the swimmers on the swimming team I was watching, oh, I'd rather not. They're afraid to talk about it. This is like fascism. This is crazy. They're afraid to talk about it. But we'll get rid of men in women's sports. That's not happening. Just as I did for 4 years, I will fully uphold our Second Amendment. And we will restore free speech in America. Free speech. And along with our borders, probably the most important thing of all, we will secure our elections. Because if you don't have borders and if you don't have fair elections, this country will not survive. No country can. Our goal will be one day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. But until then, Republicans, you have to get out in November. We have to do it twice a year. In January, we're going to do that. We're going to win the primary big. But we have to get out in November. We can't let them cheat. The only way they beat us is going to be if they cheat. They can't beat us otherwise. They don't have the votes. And we don't want to see those votes get manipulated. We don't want to get... The biggest problem, you know, they're all saying about don't vote on Tuesday, vote early. No. The biggest problem is they make fake ballots, okay? That's the biggest problem. And a lot of Republicans are very naive when they don't say that. They say, oh, vote early, we want to build... No. The big problem we have to do, we got to stop fake ballots from being made. And if we don't do that, this country's in damn big trouble. This is what we must do in conclusion to restore our country to greatness. The USA is a mess. Israel is under attack. Our economy is cratering. You know it very well up here. Inflation is out of control. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea have formed together as a menacing and very destructive coalition. Our currency is crashing and will soon no longer be the world standard, which will be the greatest defeat of our nation in over 200 years if we lose our currency. And that's happening the way it's going right now with all this money that's being printed and horribly just handed to everybody. For Green New Deal, Green New Deal is going to put you out of business. Just ask Germany, ask other countries that have gone a little bit that way. They're all building coal plants now because they were dying. They were going to die. It won't happen with me, not even a chance. Just like Russia would never have invaded Ukraine and China would not be even having a thought about raiding Taiwan. They were never talking about it. Russia was never talking about it. You know, people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years it wasn't happening, and it never would have happened with Putin, or it wouldn't have happened. President Xi would have never done it. Kim Jong-un of North Korea has tremendous nuclear capability. Everybody felt safe when I was president. I got along with him. He would have had a nuclear war if Crooked Hillary was there. You would have had a nuclear war the likes of which you've never seen. And by the way, he's getting very anxious again. He thinks Biden is a total, I won't tell you the word he used, but a very bad word. And you better be careful. And we would have left Afghanistan with dignity and strength instead of the greatest embarrassment in our history. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of the United States. And you notice the way the fake news never talks about it anymore. They don't want to talk about it. If you took the 10 worst presidents, I used to say 5, remember? Right? Front row Joe remembers. It was always 5, right? I've made it 10. Do you agree? I think I could probably make it 20. I think I could make it 20. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. I mean that. Look at what he's done with inflation, with the economy, with Israel, with everything, with Ukraine. We're a failing nation. Remember what Viktor Orban said. Bring Trump back. Everything will be good. And he's the toughest, possibly, I don't want to insult the others, but let's say he's the smartest or right there. He said, bring Trump back. Forget about this guy. Bring Trump back and you'll have peace. And he was talking about the world. He said the whole world is exploding. You look at what's going on. The whole world is exploding. We're a nation in decline. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. It's totally corrupt, and we can't let that happen. If you want to save America from crooked Joe Biden, then get every patriot you know and get them out to deliver a massive victory in the New Hampshire primary first. First we do that. And you wouldn't be first, as I said before. I got to drum it, because sometimes a few of the people here, I know a couple of them, especially some of the media, I want to drum it. They'll never write it anyway, but you would not be first if it wasn't for me. But we want you to join our campaign, work with Steve and Corey and everybody. Join our campaign by visiting nh.donaldjtrump.com or text Trump to 88022. Okay? 88022. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers, those horrible warmongers from our government. Those stupid, stupid people. They love seeing people die. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. They really hate our country. We will rout the fake news media right back there. We're going to rout them because they've got to learn. You know, they're doing very poorly. They're all going out of business because nobody trusts them. Nobody believes it anymore. I believe it. They could help us straighten out this country so fast if we had an honest press, which we don't. If we had an honest press, they are truly the enemy of the people. We will evict Joe Biden from the White House, and we will finish the job